Oh, wait. I'm Cindy.
I'm Ainge or Lou, and we're Faking Sanity. We run a shop in Dawson Creek, BC. If you've never been here before, welcome.
If you've never been to the podcast. I was like, if they've never been to Dawson Creek, nobody's ever been. Well, no, that's not true.
That's not true.
A surprising amount of people have come through.
Yeah.
But,
Even some podcast viewers. We've met quite a few.
Yeah. Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah. Surprising. But
yeah.
Cool.
Oh, anyway, yeah.
We run a shop in Dawson Creek, BC. If you're new, welcome. And if you're returning, thanks for coming back. And, I think we'll just get right into it today.
I'm dancing to the music in my head.
There's always music in her head.
Yeah.
But she has been knitting, and so have I. So
well, I did more ripping than knitting.
We have less impressive progress to show, but we've both been knitting.
Yes.
So,
happy Thanksgiving to all the Canadians. Well, by the time this gets out, it'll be past Thanksgiving, but we're doing it on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, today's Monday, it's Thanksgiving. A couple of weeks for the American Thanksgiving yet, but...
Long time.
Several weeks.
Like long time.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay, anyway.
I feel very shiny today. We're recording a little later during the day, and the lights are... lighty.
Like, it just picks up my grey more. Oh well, I'm distinguished.
She put on a hat, and it was like just blowout. It was just shiny white.
It's not my colors, but yeah, it was like, whoa, that reflection.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Anyway, well, we are starting with FOs. I have a pair of FOs. I won't spend a lot of time on it because you've seen them many times, but it's a pair. I finished my dad's socks. They have these weird-looking sweet tomato heels by Bordhi, and I love them, and I hope he does. He hasn't mentioned that he doesn't, but and then I do the super stretchy bind-off. It looks a little flared at the end.
It's got a name.
Yes, Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind-off.
Yeah.
It's a little flared at the end because I can't break the habit of binding off loosely, because that's what every other card but it fits perfectly. Yeah. I tried it on and it doesn't flare at all on the legs. So I'm thrilled. I hope he is. They ended up being a little shorter than I had planned. I had planned to do them several inches longer than usual, and instead they're only about an inch longer than usual because I hadn't divided up my yarn equally, so I had to rip back the first one a little bit. But they're done. Yay! First Christmas gift.
I don't think I'm knitting any Christmas gifts this year.
I think this might be my only one.
Well, I might, but not for my family, so.
So that's my FO.
That's really cool. I have an FO. You already saw it. I did a hat. So we got some new yarn in at the store. So this is some of it.
It's so nice.
It is, yeah. It's lovely. It's one of ours. It's Faking Sanity Solace Chunky. It's dyed for us by Mineville Wool Project, which we love them.
Yeah.
And so we got some
variegated.
Variegateds, thanks. I was like, semi-solid. No, not at all.
No.
And some semi-solid. And some of them go together, which is lovely.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think everyone has at least one semi-solid that will go with it. Some of them have more.
Yeah. And it's a pretty loosely plied 2-ply. But yeah, it just made an awesome knit. Yeah. Though I did find when I had to pull out a bit, it came untwisted. But that happens to me a lot because I twist weird. Yeah. Do the twist. See, music in my head. So I did the Kaarre by Kostamovaara, which she's done a couple of already. Yeah. But I adapted it for a heavier weight yarn because this is a chunky. Yeah. Not a DK, which is what it calls for. Mm-hmm.
So it's such a nice pattern for variegated yarn, though. It just shows off so nicely.
Like, these are not my colors at all, but I really wanted to try one of them, and I thought I'd, try something.
Hold it up close.
In not my colors for the store. So this is Under the Tuscan Sun is the colorway name, because we name all of our colorways after books.
Yeah, and it's just got a... like star decrease top, just the evenly.
I almost had to rip it back and just do something completely different because I was scared I was gonna lose
yarn chicken.
Yeah, sock chicken, yarn chicken.
I think you would lose sock chicken when you're knitting a hat.
Yeah.
So the white on this is blowing out. There's actually not tons of white in it. It's got a lot of the golds and greens, and maybe a third of the skein is the creamy white. It just looks so nice with the slip stitches. I love this pattern.
Yeah, this pattern is great for semi-solid.
Or variegated.
I mean, variegated. God. My brain works really, yeah, so I really like it. I haven't blocked it yet, so it's a bit tight on me. Yeah. But that's cool because it's a superwash, so I think it will.
Superwash tends to stretch a little.
Though my sweater didn't, so
yeah.
I'm pretty happy about that. But yeah, cool. It's really, really cute. It's just a short one.
It is. It'll be a cute shop sample.
Yeah, it's not for me.
This pattern has been proving rather popular. Sorry.
She's made 2 now, and they both sold.
I made one as a shop sample,
yeah.
And somebody asked if they could buy it, and I was like, oh, sure, I'll knit another one. And I finished it at knit night. I was sewing in the ends, and somebody asked if they could take it home.
Yeah,
so I got rid of another hat. And
so that was her other FO this week.
Yeah. So actually, I'm going to pause after this and insert a picture.
Yes.
I knit a second one. You had seen the beginnings of it out of our Impulse DK? No. Whimsy DK.
I'm like, one of our yarns.
Out of the Whimsy DK. And I usually don't like singles, but it looks so nice in that pattern.
It really did.
I think this designer, like, there's not a lot of people who have made that pattern, and I don't know why. It's a beautiful pattern. It's easy and well written, and I think more people should knit her stuff. She doesn't have tons of patterns, but I really love that one.
I'm gonna have to check out her other stuff because I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
And well written pattern and
yeah. So Kaarre hat by Maria Kostamovaara.
Yeah.
And here is a picture now, and we'll be back in a second. She's poking my arm.
Hit the pause.
I am.
Bye.
We'll be right back.
We're back.
You saw a hat.
Hopefully. Yeah. So that was our FOs.
Yeah. And now we're on to whips, and you have a couple of whips.
I have 2 whips. Okay. So I'll show you the whip.
I'm gonna have another sit. I'm having a hard time today.
Yeah, you are. I'll show you the whip that you've already seen. And unfortunately, it looks a lot like it did last podcast.
It looked very different for a while.
It did. So this is the Taliesin.
Oh no, that's further than you were at the last podcast.
Okay. This is the Taliesin by Lucy Hague. Out of, well, you can buy the pattern on its own, or it's in the book Celtic Cabled Shawls.
That's
and
beautiful.
It's supposed to be done in fingering weight, and I'm doing it in Cascade Eco, so it is going to be massive. So I had knit, so at this point I am just past, oh, you can see now have a lifeline. I don't know if you can actually see it. Yeah, I have a dental floss lifeline in there because I had knit 18 more rows and then realized that I had made a mistake somewhere and didn't have the right number of
and had
stitches.
to go all the way back to there.
So I started tinking back, and then I realized that if I had made a mistake of the number of stitches, it had to be on the big increase rows. So I ripped back to the beginning of that chart.
A good 6 inches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but that's all right. I want it to be perfect. I could have just fudged it.
It's beautiful. It's going to be an awesome shawl blanket.
I really love it. The cables are just showing up so amazingly in this yarn.
Cascade is great stitch definition.
Yeah.
And
so
like
Cascade
even
Eco,
in the dark yarn.
Cascade Eco, one of my favorite yarns. It is not Superwash, but that's about the only thing I don't like about it. And it's a bit itchy wall knitting. It softens up nicely when you're done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like it. I'm so excited about that. So that is my whip that should have been further along.
It was. I can vouch for the fact that she did knit a lot more.
A lot more.
Way longer and
it's
way
so much.
Yeah.
No, well, but that's okay. I want it to be perfect. So, what's your whip?
My whip is actually my handspun socks.
It's cool.
So I finished. It's a half done object. I finished a sock, so that's the first one. So it's about a third of the gradient. So it starts with the dark purple and went up to the blue, and then I started the second one, and it will be the exact opposite. So it'll be blue about to here. So you can see it's just starting to get
so cool.
Just starting to get into the purples here.
So
and then
she dyed the fiber and then spun it and now is knitting it. And it I'm
I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. It's not super even. You can see there's little bits where the yarn is a bit thicker.
It doesn't matter. They're great.
But
it's a Sockasaurus.
It was a snuffle sock last week.
No.
You've heard, or last night.
No, it was a Sockasaurus. That wasn't last night anyway.
Hockey. We were watching hockey.
Sockasaurus. Oh, yes. I can't even make the noise she was making with it. It was very disturbing.
Anyway, yeah, I'm... so, I should get to the end of the blue just after the heel, if I calculated correctly. And then I will do the last part of the leg. It should be all pretty much in the purple.
Ah, it's so cool.
And then I should have about 20 grams left to use as a mini for something else of the just straight purple at the end.
It's very cool.
I'm thrilled. Cool. I'm so proud of these. Like, it's my first hand-spun socks. And they better last forever. I'm so hard on my socks. I spun this intentionally really... I spun a blend with nylon in it already, and I spun and plied it extra tight. Like, there's a 60-degree ply angle on this, which
is high,
is apparently a lot. I'm just going to untangle it from my needles to show you.
Yeah, it is very high twist.
So, if you look, I don't know, can I show it? So you can see kind of the, you can see how tightly twisted that is there. It's a little blurry because my camera doesn't like focusing this close, but if I pull off the tension, you can see how much.
It's focusing on your knuckles, not on yours.
Oh yeah, good call.
Anyway, it's really tightly plied.
There we go. If I loosen the grab on it, you can see it's even more tightly plied than usual. Cindy's making faces, so that's my cue to stop. But I will try this again.
I'll have to keep that in mind. It's really cool. I'm so proud of you.
I'm so pleased. And this one fits my left foot, so this one has to be a little longer.
Oh, right, yes.
Everybody has different size feet, right? But not everybody has a full size difference.
Yeah, it's got a big difference.
I've
got one wider foot than
it's a whole shoe size longer. So when I'm doing patterns, I always have to work in an extra repeat on the right foot. So, yeah. So I'm at the same length as I would be starting the heel on the left foot. So I'm going to do another 5 or 6 rows before I start.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Hee-hee.
Woohoo. Okay, so I have another project that
this one's so
just
cool.
started. I didn't think I was going to knit a sweater, but then all of a sudden, well, my mom guilted me into it. No, I was like, the hoodie that I wear like every day is really starting to get ratty.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to knit a new hoodie, and then I was looking at my yarn and I didn't have enough for a hoodie, but I found a pattern that I really, really liked that worked with the yarn I had enough of to make the sweater, hopefully.
You will.
But I gauge swatched. Okay, sorry, a lot of this is going to be boring because it's just gray. But it's this lovely heather gray.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a beautiful heathery charcoal.
So I did a gauge swatch. This is Cascade 220 Superwash in, I think, charcoal is the color.
I think it's called charcoal.
It's lovely. Anyway, I did a gauge swatch. I couldn't believe it. I hit gauge on my first try.
You never do that.
Well, I went, okay, so they're calling for this size needles. I'm going to go to this size needles, but...
How many did you have to go down? Like 2 or go up 2?
No, I went up 1. But also, well, the pattern is a Thyone, or... I'm not too sure actually how it's said. It's Thyone. It's named after one of Jupiter's moons, which was named after a...
Oh, Thyone.
Thyone. Okay.
It's a Greek muse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By Tori Gerbisz. It actually calls for a DK yarn, but I was trying a couple worsted weight patterns with this yarn, and I didn't like the fabric I was getting. It was really open and loose, and I like a nice dense fabric.
And it's really thin for a worsted.
Exactly.
Like a lot of people knit it at a DK gauge.
Yeah. And I knew that, so I decided to check out DK patterns, and I found this awesome pattern. So, Thyone. Here, I think the easiest way to see it is on my phone.
Yeah. It's such a nice classic
this cute
pattern.
Little, just basic sweater. I'm only doing one color. I'm not doing the color change. But the great thing about it is, okay, so a lot of patterns nowadays are raglan patterns, and I love the idea of knitting something seamless because
I hate sewing.
I would knit all the pieces and then never sew it together. But raglan is not a good look for someone with boobs.
Yeah.
And I unfortunately have an abundance. So I didn't really want a raglan shaping either. But this is so cool because it is set in sleeves. But it's seamless. It's awesome. So you knit the top. You actually have a seam at the top because you knit like 2 inches of the back all the way across, and then you pick up one side and knit 2 inches of the front on each side, and then you pick up like sleeve
the cap
stitches.
for the sleeves.
Yeah. And then you just start knitting.
I like the idea of that because you get the strength of the seams.
Yes.
Without not having to sew it together.
Yeah, and it's really cool. It's hard to kind of show because it's on small needles. But you
have
really
shoulders.
cool. I have shoulders. I'm really thrilled. Yeah, I'm just doing the one color.
I might have to knit that.
But I think
or
if
at
this fits as well as it looks like it's gonna fit, I might have to make a couple. We'll see.
I was thinking I might have to make not necessarily that sweater, but something with those shoulders. I really like that construction.
I don't think I've seen anything else like that. No. I'm sure there probably is, but I really liked the idea of, and the only thing it doesn't have, well, it's not a hoodie, but I can live without the hood. I just like a nice snuggly sweater, but it doesn't have pockets. So I might, if I have enough yarn, I might add an afterthought pocket afterwards.
Well, and even if you don't, you can add a contrasting pocket, which would look really nice.
Yeah. So kind of boring to see because it's just lots of gray knitting. Lots and lots of gray stockinette, but it is, I'm so happy with it. Yeah. And
it's a nice fabric too. Like that's a nice gauge for that yarn.
And I'm just really hoping that this becomes my next new cozy. I have knit one sweater before out of cotton, and I wore it once and then never wore it again, and I ended up...
You knit a shirt for me too, out of cotton.
No, you crocheted it. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm really excited. That's my I knit in really boring colors. Like for myself.
I get it.
Yeah.
I like grays and
grays and grays
and charcoal specifically.
Yeah.
I love.
But so I'm really happy.
It's a sweater.
Really
You're knitting a sweater.
I'm knitting a sweater.
My whip is a historical one.
Your other whip. You had a whip.
So, my other whip. Cindy had Whip Lucky Dip. This won't fit in the Whip Lucky Dip bag, so it's just my blanket.
She basically wants to guilt herself into finishing this.
I started this years ago.
So it's this cool blanket. I've crocheted it before.
So it's a crocheted blanket, and it's not a free pattern, so I won't give away the secret sauce, but it's a really basic mesh. And then when you're done crocheting the whole thing, which I have, you weave through... Oh, I had it folded nicely so that it would show the woven part nice.
I was pulling out the woven part.
She unfolded it. So it has a plaid pattern, but I simplified it to just giant checks. So I crocheted like 8 inches in the charcoal and then 8 in the red, and then you weave through the opposite color. So you get all 4. And I've got about half of the blanket woven. And it's so big and so hot, you can only work on it when it's cold out. But it was snowing again this weekend, so I think it's time to pull this out, and I want to finish it this year. It's not a project I can take anywhere because it's too big.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to like sit with a needle and thread and these loose strands of 8... She's weird. Loose strands of 8 foot of yarn to weave through, so it's not something you can put down and not get tangled. So, but I love charcoal and dark red. You've seen, well, when we've tried podcasting elsewhere, this is the color of our walls and this is the color of our bookshelves. They're kind of my colors.
The bookshelves are black, but that is basically the walls.
That's our store.
That is, yeah.
Welcome to Faking Sanity. Anyway, I love this. It'll be fabulous and cozy. I've made one like this before.
Finish it.
and I loved it. It was my favorite blanket. I used it until it fell apart. And it's just out of Red Heart comfort because I like a blanket that you can throw in the washer.
Yeah.
And dryer. And I did that with the last one, and it still lasted for years. So I'm guilting myself into finishing it. That shake of the camera was proof that I'm going to do it.
Sure you are. Okay. So we're going to talk about our KALs, because
yes,
right now we've got the Colourwork KAL going on.
Yep, just started.
And we both have plans for it, but neither of us have actually started. But I am going to do my plan. I have two plans. I'm either going to do actual color work, and I'm going to do...
She's always sworn she wouldn't.
I did. This is the Snowfling Mitts by Tanis Lavallee of Tanis Fiber Arts.
Can you zoom them in? Oh, there you go.
I would show you on paper, but we only have a black and white printer, which kind of loses the
effect of the color work a little bit. Yeah.
They're snowflakes.
Really nice.
It was kind of between this or the Alberta Frost by Cozy Up Designs.
Yeah. And she's Canadian too.
Yeah. And I happen to have DK weight yarn that would work for this in purple and cream. So I thought I'd go with this one since I didn't have yarn that would work for the others.
Yeah.
And I'm going to either do that or I'm going to start Sockception socks. And that's kind of color work because it's double knitting.
Yeah.
And I'll be using 2 different colors.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, that's the easiest way to start is...
So that you can tell them apart easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Knitting with both colors. It's knitting both simultaneously, but not one inside the other, like I've seen
well,
when
I mean,
double
you
knitting
could,
is used.
you can do it.
Yeah, but it kind of sets them like this, like you're knitting.
Sockception is by Tara Bogh.
From Prince George.
From Prince George.
So it kind of like... You knit up like this, and then you go on and knit the legs of both at the same time, and it's just really cool. It was really cool.
So maybe I'll start that with mini socks, just to try it out.
Well, you could do both. Do mini socks with Tara's Sockception pattern, and then do the mittens.
Yeah, or something. I really am gonna try to do color work. Really, I am.
You should. We've had a lot of interest locally too. So we had the little class before, but I've had a few people ask about it at class again, so I think we'll probably do another one in the new year. So you'll see lots of color work, I think, in the future.
Oh, excuse me.
I want to do the Speedy Selbu mitts from Skeindeer Knits, which I've talked about before and lots of you have seen because she has the Selbu Mitten Club. Just because it'd be a quick knit and an easy...
Is that the first one?
It's the one you get if you bought this year's club. It was the one you got as soon as you bought it before the monthly
before
ones.
they started.
It's still limited to just the club, but it's just an Aran weight basic Selbus, like a Selbu star and a ribbed cuff. And I think my actual colorwork plan is going to be to finish or tweak the pattern I wrote for the class that we did. And then I'm going to do Grey Eyed by Rebecca Tsai.
Oh, that's really cute. It's got an owl on it.
Yeah. Actually, do you want to bring it up?
I suppose. You keep talking.
Okay. Yeah, it's really cool. I thought owls are kind of big right now. And it's a fun, nice little pattern. And it's got... it's a 2-color pattern, but you can embroider eyes on it afterwards if your colors don't have like an eye color incorporated in them. Oh, there it is. And yeah, it's just a really cute, it's got vines around the owl. Wow.
Nope.
Vines around the owl and a corrugated rib. And I love corrugated ribs. So it's a pain to knit, but it looks cool. So
cool.
I'm having a hard time talking today.
Yeah, that's all right. That's why we're podcasting.
When you can't talk, you put a camera on and prove that you can't talk.
And when your nose is itchy, what?
Okay, so I cut my hair last night, and I had a shower, and then there was hair all over my pillowcase this morning. So I had another shower, and yet I still feel like it's itchy, like there's loose little bits of hair
There
in
is. There is. Every time she does this, little pieces of hair go flying. So.
Anyway, that was my plans for the KAL. We've had a few people comment in the group already, which has been cool. We'd love to see your progress. post as you're going along. It's always fun, whether it's a link to the pattern or a picture of where you are so far or what yarn you're using. It's always fun to see.
And on the the Knit to Alaska make-along, I actually posted some stuff.
Me too.
I know. I was just so proud of myself. I was organizing.
I'm sure I missed a whole bunch in between because I think my last ones.
I know.
Were
I
like
had to
6 months ago.
I had to watch old podcasts to see what I'd been working on. So bad.
We're so bad.
Yeah.
But
and then some of it was like, I sold that one or gave that to someone. Oops. I don't have a picture, but
part of it is though we're not putting ourselves in for the draw, so it's not quite the same impetus to post there when we've shown it on here. So anyway, we love that everybody's participating.
It is so cool.
We're coming up actually fairly quickly on like
we're moving very fast.
Yeah,
we
every
have quite a
milestone
ways still
is
to
getting
go.
further apart, and yet
we're still hitting them
so fairly
fast.
regularly.
Yeah, it's so cool.
So that's been fun,
and we have some good ideas for some prizes.
Yes. Yeah. Some very cool ideas.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the list of what we are talking about next, because heaven forbid.
I'm a planner.
She's. I planned something. Well, okay. one of our knit night ladies, who's a friend, but she's been bugging me about doing a yarn swap for ages, because we've done some yarn swaps before. Yeah. And it's loads of fun. Everybody brings the stuff from their stash that they don't want anymore, and we each get a table and we spread out, and everybody goes around and swaps yarn or buys yarn off each other or whatever. Yeah. And she's been bugging me. So finally she texted. She's like, "So yarn swap?" And I'm like, "Okay, fine. How about October 21st?" She's like, "Yeah, that works for me." Like, good. Okay. So will you? Yeah.
We are having a yarn swap in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If you're in the area, feel free to join. It's not just for our Knit Night ladies. Yeah. We'll be here from 2 to 4.
It's a Sunday afternoon.
It's a Sunday afternoon, and that's 2 to 4 BC time, which for anybody who's coming from across the border, we're an hour difference.
The time change happens sometime soon, doesn't it? Probably, actually, possibly that day, possibly the next.
Look it up while I chat.
Oh, okay.
Or we'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, so we'll have a yarn swap from 2 to 4. Bring any yarn you want to get rid of. And feel free to shop everybody else's stash that they bring that they want to get rid of. It's
really fun.
We can swap between ourselves, or we can sell to each other. Lots of times that happens just as much as the swapping does. Yeah. The store's closed at that point, so there's no debit or credit. You're just dealing with everybody individually. So, if I wanted to buy Cindy's yarn, it's not through the store. I'm just buying something she wants to get rid of. Yeah. Which isn't going to happen. We're just going to trade for something in our stashes.
Oh, it's not until November this year.
Okay. So we are not on Alberta time right now. We're an hour
We're on BC time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weird little area.
We're really close to the Alberta border, so some of the nearby towns don't change.
Yeah, my aunt and uncle live just across the Alberta border, but because they come here more often, they stay on our time all the time. Yeah, but that will be loads of fun if anyone wants to come. Mm-hmm. It's always fun. Yeah. You get to look at everybody's cool yarn.
Yeah. And bring your knitting. Usually when everybody's done shopping, we kind of sit down at a couple of chairs and knit and chat for a bit. So it's kind of an informal knit together.
And this year I will not be going around forcing yarn on people. A couple years ago when we did this, I was just like, I needed to clear out some of that stuff that had been in my stash forever, and I was never going to knit. So I was like, here, you should have this. You can have it for free. And they're like, well, I don't know what I would do with it. And I'm like coming up with ideas, and I got rid of a lot of yarn.
She was a yarn pusher.
I was a yarn pusher that time. This time I will not be. Yeah. I'm happy to swap. I don't know if I'll go home with more that I came with. Yeah. Probably, because that's what I do. Hey, maybe I can swap some fingering weight for some chunky.
That's what I did at the last swap.
You got rid of a lot of lace weight.
Yeah. My stash when we moved here was almost all lace and fingering. Yeah. And now about 3/4 of it is worsted.
I still have a lot of fingering.
Lots of fingering,
it's
but
so pretty, and you can do something with a skein.
Yeah.
Well,
you can do a shawl, you can do a hat, you can do mitts. Anyway, yarn swap. Come if you're in the area. We'd love to see you.
It's fun.
We promise to be on our best behavior, but still a little crazy.
When are we ever on our best behavior? Okay, occasionally when the store is open. Sometimes. Ow! Arr.
Best behavior.
Best behavior. We got some new stuff in at the shop, though. Besides...
Oh, yes.
The Solace.
Okay.
What?
This colorway, I was looking at what to bring, and the quote on this one, because they're all named after books, we have book quotes from the book on each one, and this one's Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. But the quote was, "My darling girl, when are you going to realize that being normal is not necessarily a virtue? It rather denotes a lack of courage." And I was like, oh.
We like that one.
That's the quote. There were a bunch on the list of possibilities, and we're like, nope, that's the one.
The quote. Yeah. Yeah. But, okay, so we got some... Woo!
She's throwing yarn.
I am throwing yarn. It is Regia Pairfect rainbows. So these ones knit up as rainbow stripey. Well, in stripey. These are blue and purple. But these are the coolest things. You talk about it.
Oh,
have we talked about these before?
I don't think so.
Okay.
The yellow thread is not part of the colorway. It shows you where to stop knitting and start the next sock. And if you cut out the yellow and do that, you get 2 exactly matching socks.
Hence, perfect.
So yeah, and there's instructions on it on the inside of the ball band that show you, like, you know, if you're starting. Yeah. But so the picture that they show is not just idealized. Like, it actually is identical.
Yeah. Which I just think is so cool.
Yeah.
And there's
without
some really
having
cool
to
colors.
work at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some really cool colors.
I like that one. That's probably my favorite, the purple and the blue. Shocking, I know.
Yeah.
I like purple and blue.
Yeah. We are a bit predictable. Look, purple and blue.
We're a bruise.
But yeah, they're really cool. I really want to try one.
And Regia knits and lasts so well. Like, it's nice sock yarn. It's not scratchy. For like, the German sock yarns usually are tighter twist and more hard wearing and stuff. Some are a bit scratchy. This one's not scratchy. It's not like super soft merino.
Yeah.
But it's nice, and it doesn't feel itchy on your feet at all. But it wears like iron. Like, I've worn out handmade socks after 3 wears was the worst
cool.
I've had, and these I've had for 3 or 4 years.
And Regia is the one with the 10-year guarantee.
Yep. They guarantee if they wear out before 10 years, they'll replace them.
That is really cool.
You have to send your receipt and your sock.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like the guaranteed not free, because in a color, like in a striping colorway, if there's a knot that breaks that colorway, it's useless. Yeah. So the idea of perfect wouldn't work if there was a knot that broke the colorway. So.
It's really cool. Mm-hmm. And then, do you want to talk about these?
No, you can.
Oh, well, okay. We got some little... You do talk too much. We just got some little tags that say handmade with love, that you can like sew into garments or whatever.
Yeah.
That we're
I wish
selling.
we could get a few different ones, but those were the only ones I liked from the supplier.
Yeah. A lot
they
of
were
them
basic, but they're nice.
Yeah. And
not scratchy.
Okay. And have we put these ones up on Etsy yet? Or
no, I've taken the pictures, but I haven't. Okay. It'll go up tomorrow.
Yeah. So those are really cool. We just are doing little sets of, I think, 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, really cool. And then we got pottery. So Wednesday, we were so sick.
Yeah.
We actually closed, which we haven't done since we started doing the yarn at the store.
Yeah.
But yeah. But then our pottery supplier texted me, and she's like, and I'm like, she was coming in, and I was like, yeah, we'll be there. And
she lives out of town.
She lives like a good half hour, 45 minutes out of town. So she always makes sure like we'll be there. And I often meet her like on a Sunday when we're closed. But yeah, I had just been like, oh yeah, you're coming while we're open, no big deal. So I threw on clothes and ran down, and she was here with her daughter and like baby granddaughter, and I was like, I'll stay away from the baby. I do not want to pass this on. But she brought us all sorts of amazing pottery stuff. Yeah. She always brings beautiful pottery. But one of them was an awesome yarn bowl. I love her glaze. Her
glazes are beautiful.
Amazing glaze. And she does these handles with driftwood from the creek by her house.
And they're sanded smooth. It's not something that would catch.
Well, it's drifted smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she picks nice smooth pieces, and the wire is twisted really well so that there's nothing to catch.
Yeah.
But they're just such cute little buckets and bowls she does. Oh, so cute. And then, and she brought a whole bunch of neat serving dishes. And
Cindy took something home.
I'm taking one home. Look at this. It is.
I love the dragonflies.
Me too. And just the 2-color glaze. And it's going to be my little catch-all. So basically,
all the stitch markers she finds on her floor.
Yeah. It'll be all my little knitting supplies and stuff. And it, I think, pretty closely matches my yarn bowl from her. As well.
Yeah, the blue side of the glaze is like your yarn bowl.
It doesn't have the dragonflies, but I love the dragonflies.
They're beautiful.
And she just does such beautiful pieces.
Yeah. And show the bottom. Like even she doesn't just sign the bottoms. She etches in a little
River's Edge Clayworks, which is her
tree design,
her company.
Yeah.
And she has a little stamp for the River's Edge Clayworks, but she does a little tree design. I love her stuff.
She's so talented.
Yes, and a sweetheart. She texted on like Saturday to see how I was feeling. But so I just had to show that off because I didn't have any other what's it called? Acquisitions this week. Well, I mean, I knit a hat out of this.
A shop sample that you acquired, but it's going back to the shop right away.
Yeah. So I just have to block it, and then it's going to the shop tomorrow. Yeah. But
it's so
I love.
She does a couple like that where she like does a resist to draw a design and then pulls off the resist.
She does really cute moose cups.
Oh, go get one.
Okay.
They're adorable. So there are a lot of moose in this area, and these are like my favorite of her designs, and they're hand-drawn moose. So everyone is a bit different. But
and she just does a wax resist before she glazes them. And there's moose and trees on them.
They're just awesome.
They are so popular around here.
They sell out. Yeah. Usually the day they come in, we sell at least half the stock we got in of those.
And she does cute little, it says "Oh Canada" on one side and has maple leaves, and it's just her little tag. But I love those. They are so cute.
They're gorgeous. Yeah. And her prices are really good.
Yes.
She does such fine, they're such fine mugs. Like, look how
light,
thin the pottery is. They're really light and easy to hold. And, I love these. I may have a few pieces of hers at home.
A few.
Our cup cupboard doesn't close really well because there's so many handmade cups. Stop poking me with a DPN.
At least I'm not trying to pick your nose with it.
You're gross.
This is my cable needle.
You're a 10-year-old boy.
Yep. Wow. No, I'm just a gross 10-year-old girl. This is my cable needle. I use DPNs for cable needles a lot. And you can store them. Sorry.
I'm glad you can't see that shot particularly well. We actually... Pearl Viola was mentioning in the podcast in the Ravelry group that she's trying to do cabling without a cable needle right now and is being frustrated with it.
Oh, really? See, so many people like it.
You know what? I think it depends on what you're doing. But like for me, I tried it when I knit my first Koolhaas because I thought, oh, great pattern to try it on because they're narrow cables and they go both ways. I loved it for the right crosses, hated it for the left. So when I have a pattern that has right crosses, occasionally I do it without a cable needle, but I don't knit very many.
Do you do
cables.
like the actual thing where you knit into the second one in the back? Okay.
Yeah. Whereas most people pulling off of the needle, I didn't like. It didn't save me any time. I was just as fast with a cable needle.
So many people love cabling without a cable needle. I happen to really enjoy cabling with a needle. I don't know why. It's really satisfying. I don't think I do it how you're supposed to do it. I will take the stitches off onto the cable needle, put them down, whatever, do my thing, and then slip them back onto the...
Oh, you don't knit them off the cable
needle? I don't
knit
them off the cable needle, which...
You just hold them there and then transfer them back?
Yeah, and this works really well because I just slip the, 2 stitches onto here, stick it into the fabric on whatever side I'm holding, do the other stuff, and then pick them up, slip them back onto the needle. I've never knit them off the cable needle.
That's what I usually do.
I don't know why. I didn't realize that that's what you're supposed to do. This pattern that I'm doing, the Taliesin, actually has...
Is that a good head scratcher too?
It actually is a really good head scratcher. It's a multi-purpose DPN, which is funny because I don't use DPNs as DPNs.
Yeah. Never knit a stitch with them, apparently, because you don't even knit off them when you're doing cables, you said.
No, I have used them to knit I-cord. They work fabulously for I-cord.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this one has cables where you, like, put 3 onto the cable needle, and then you knit 2, and then you take 1 off the cable, like, you knit 1 off the cable needle, and then cross the last 2 over that, and yeah. But yeah, I use DPNs as cable needles. So, yeah.
I use cable needles as cable needals.
I'm
wild that way.
I don't like how, I don't know. I don't know what I don't like about them.
I think I would like it if it was a shorter, like if it
that's
was a
what
4-inch DPN.
I usually use a short cable needle, but this one was fine because my shawl is massive. Yeah. So, yeah. And this was just we had a set with broken
one.
And got a replacement set, and so I just used one that wasn't broken. That's my cable needle.
I think that's it for shop news.
Okay. Culture.
But we have some culture consumed.
That was a really bad dance. Oh, wow. I can't dance, as you can tell. I can't sing. I can't dance. We danced at Rebecca's wedding.
We did.
We did the chicken dance.
She got a picture of it.
She did. Oh, well. Oh, well. Well, she didn't.
Well, yeah.
Her photographer did. But. Okay, culture.
I'm excited about some culture that's coming up. We got tickets for the Scottmore and Tessa Virtue like farewell tour, Skate Canada tour, or something like that. It's got Elvis Stoico and
yeah. See, Elvis Stoico is my era.
Yeah.
Of I haven't watched figure skating in the last few years, except when Mum has it on.
But he was skating back when I was.
Yeah, he was skating in '92 when I actually watched.
Yeah, when I was in high school and sick a lot, I watched a lot of TV. Yeah. And yeah, he was like the first guy to do a quad in competition.
I mean, I started watching figure skating in 1988.
Oh, Kurt Browning.
No. Oh, so Elvis Stoico was even later because '88 was Battle of the Bryans.
Right.
Brian Boitano and Brian Orser.
Yeah.
And then Kurt Browning. Maybe he was '92, and then Elvis Stoico was after that. Wow. I'm feeling really old.
You are.
Well, I am old.
Look at all the gray.
Oh, God. I've had that gray since 1992, but...
So I was cutting my hair, and I was like, wow, all the stuff I cut out is gray.
Yeah.
And it's, like, thick and wiry and gross. And
it's like the ones that pop out of your chin. Unexpectedly. Possibly I only have that problem.
Anyway, skating. Culture consumed.
We are going to see that.
I am looking forward to seeing that.
That is really cool.
It's coming up next week.
Yeah, the 14th.
Yeah. So.
Mum's taking us. Yeah. And we got to watch hockey.
Yeah.
Hockey started.
And my team, well, they lost their first game, but they played really well.
They did, and then they whipped my team.
I was really worried about how they do since they traded away a lot of really good players.
No, they're doing good.
But the kids stepped up. They did really well.
Whereas my team let in 11 goals in 2 games.
Yeah, Murray wasn't on his game.
Neither were the defense. Well, no, that's not true. The defense were scoring goals in the first game.
Yeah, they just weren't playing great defending. Defense. Are you hockey fans? Does this interest you at all?
We won't talk for lots, but yeah. So it's been a while since we talked about hockey. So I'm a Pittsburgh Penguins fan.
I'm a Habs fan. I wasn't sure how that was going to make me feel this year.
But last year her team was terrible.
But I was pleased, and I watched. Yeah. A lot of the players I like have been traded now, and so I watched the Vegas Golden Knights opening game, and they lost. Pretty badly, 5-1.
But they have my old goalie.
But they have Fleury in goal, and they have Pacioretty, who was our captain, just got traded there. And I was sad about that, but I think it's a good start for him. Yeah, like to
he
start
needed
fresh.
To get out of Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal's a bit of a pressure cooker.
All the Canadian teams, I'd say, are.
But if you're not doing well, and you become a scapegoat pretty easily in Montreal.
Yeah, so. I know all about that. I was Oilers fan.
Yeah.
I gave up on the Oilers.
Yeah. So it was good to see them playing and like he was smiling.
Which what a concept.
That hasn't happened a lot lately. So it was good.
Yeah, it was a really weird season start. My team wasn't too bad. We had a lot of the same players. Yeah. But like watching your team, I was like, who's that?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of them before. Though we did come up with some good nicknames for them.
Yeah. I can't even think of them now.
Tater.
Oh.
Tatar.
Tatar was Tater Tots.
Tater Tots. I don't even remember. I mean, they're as bad as actual hockey nicknames. Yeah. Like where every guy named Campbell is nicknamed Soupy. But yeah, hockey.
I love watching some of the behind the scenes stuff too for hockey. Yeah, and like the interviews and stuff. And
no, not the actual interviews.
No, not interviews. Not interviews with the players, but interviews like interviewers talking about their discussions with the players.
Yes, because players are the most boring people to listen to ever. But I could do a player interview.
We need to get
pucks to the net and give 110%, and
we didn't do great there, but it's something to work on.
Yeah. Anyway,
the land of idioms. But we named a new captain because they traded away Pacioretty, so Shea Weber's our captain now, and he's hurt right now, but he apparently has been really close to the new kid Kotkaniemi, which was
an 18-year-old.
A risky trade. Everybody said
draft.
Everybody said it was risky because he's so young and you really don't know what he's going to lead to, you know. And Weber said he kind of reminds him of him as a kid, so he's kind of buddied up to him. And he's like, so it's normal for kids coming up in the NHL when they're really young. A lot of times they'll live with another player for a bit until they kind of get their bearings.
Or for 10 years.
Or for 10 years if you're Crosby. But so Weber keeps asking this kid, Kotkaniemi, he keeps asking him, like, do you want to live with one of the guys? Like, it doesn't have to be me, but do you want to live with one of the guys to get your bearings? And, you know, they can help you out with all the, you know, nutrition requirements of a heavier workload because you need to take in a lot more calories and, like, just everything, right? And he's like, no, I'm good. And apparently Weber keeps asking, and the kid's like, no, really, I'm good.
I'm good. Oh, fly. Sorry.
She has a phantom fly.
She has stuff capabilities. Okay, so other culture besides ice-related cultures.
Yeah,
I read a book. Actually, I read quite a few books.
Yeah,
but this one was fabulous. It is Stalin's Daughter by Rosemary Sullivan. The Extraordinary and Tumultuous Life of Svetlana Alexeyeva. Yeah, I don't know how to say her last name, but yeah. So I don't know if anyone even knew that Stalin had a daughter, but it was a fascinating read. It was all about like growing up in the Kremlin and being Stalin's daughter, and then her mother committed suicide when she was 6, and then she defected in the 60s, and fascinating read, really well written, and yeah, and you get where she's coming from, and you kind of feel sorry for her, but also you want to kind of smack her upside the head. But I mean, because she had terrible taste in men, but really, I mean, she was Stalin's daughter.
He had terrible taste in men?
No! I mean, she grew up wanting the love of her father and not really getting it. But yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, Stalin probably did have terrible taste in men. But yeah, fascinating, really fascinating read. I'm all about the Russian history lately in the last couple of years.
Well, and that's kind of where you started too, history.
Oh yeah, I have a history degree.
Yeah.
But specifically the Russian stuff's been interesting me lately. Yeah. Well, Russian or Soviet.
Yes.
But yeah, fascinating read, and I also learned a lot about Frank Lloyd Wright's widow. Crazy. Anyway, I'm now really interested in reading about them because.
About Frank Lloyd Wright?
Yeah, apparently they had like basically a commune, and they had all these like architects there, and they lived. It was weird. Yeah. But yeah,
beautiful architecture.
Yes, fabulous architecture. But apparently the story behind it is quite interesting. So you might have to check that out. But that was one of my reads.
I took home some new books to read, but I haven't started them because I was busy knitting on handspun socks.
I didn't, but I did stitch yesterday.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't read a word yesterday.
I read so many words yesterday.
But I did. What was I going to?
Podcasts.
Oh yeah, you were talking about history stuff, and I found a new podcast by the Royal Institution. It's a British channel, and they do like some history podcasts, some are science, and they're basically like university lectures, and any that kind of stand on their own that you don't need too much context for are in like done as podcasts that are put out. Cool.
And kind of like the great courses.
Yeah,
I've been listening to some
it's
of those
not
again.
like 30 or 40.
Yeah. It's one, but still.
But like this one I listened to yesterday, it's called Why Everything You Knew About Quantum Physics is Different Than You Thought. And it's all about like reinterpreting some of the idioms that everybody knows. Like if you read about quantum physics, you know about quantum entanglement and these ideas that like, oh, an electron could be in two places at once, or if you know the place that it is, definitely you don't know how fast it's moving, or vice versa. And those are kind of common idioms that are used to simplify the understanding of the concepts, but he explains it all in terms of like moving information, like when you're talking about quantum computing and like things are binary in quantum computing, and you move like it's just a switch that's on or off to say how fast you can move. And he explains it all in terms of information moving and sharing, not physical objects. And so explaining that, you know, what you thought you knew about quantum theory is wrong. Like it's just an oversimplified version, but he explains it in very simplified.
That makes
like he has physical like boxes, and this is, you know, quantum box A and quantum box B, and he kind of explains it in a very easy to understand manner. So it was really interesting.
I made quantum box B lighter.
Which affects quantum box A.
It does actually sound quite interesting.
Yeah, it was.
I probably won't watch it.
No.
Quantum, I mean, I did a lot of physics and stuff.
I loved physics.
But I don't know, it just never really caught my...
Physics was one of my favorite classes in high school, and I've never taken a physics class since, but I read and watch a lot of physics.
Yeah.
So that was one of my new ones this week.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. But I think you would like the channel. There's lots of other stuff that you would like.
Sure, I would. I'm starting a book club.
Yes.
With the same friend who was badgering me about yarn swaps.
And a few of our Knit Night ladies, actually.
Yeah, well, but we're starting it. Anyway, so we had been talking about how we've both, like, tried to be part of a book club before, but the books are always really, really depressing. Like, the books that people choose for book clubs tend to be high literature or whatever, and...
or hard reads that are thought-provoking.
Well, yes, and I mean, I like thought-provoking, but there's only so many books I can read about slavery or World War II or, So we have come up with a happy book club. So every book we're going to read is happy.
In some way.
Well, yeah, and I mean, the first book we're reading is The Readers of Broken Wheel Recommend by Katrina Byvald, which was my recommendation. I love it. And I mean, it does start with a death, but it's just it's a really feel-good book. Mm-hmm. I tend to like books about books. It's really strange.
Yeah, you've recommended quite a few to me that
are
books about books.
Yes. I actually have one at home called The Bookseller that I'm going to read to see if it's one I can recommend for the book club. Yeah. But yeah, so we're really excited, and we're going to do like just people are going to recommend stuff, but you know, happy fiction and teen fiction and sci-fi fantasy, which a lot of book clubs don't do.
Or bios that aren't just set, like like the Michael J. Fox ones or the Ellen Elda ones or A.J. Jacobs. If you haven't read A.J. Jacobs, go find The Year of Living Biblically, which is his best one, and read it.
Yeah. So I actually took home a few books to read to see if there could actually. I grabbed one on Friday, and I was like, this has been on my to-read list for probably since before we moved up here. So let's say 10 years. And just one of those, you know, I saw it looked interesting. Yeah. I'll read it someday books. And I grabbed it and I started reading it on my lunch, you know.
The 10 minutes while we're scarfing food.
Yeah. And then one of our regulars came in, and he's always looking for books for his girlfriend, and she reads like everything. And I was like, oh, well, she might like this. We've got 2 copies, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's Balzac and the Little Chinese Seamstress. I can't remember who it's by. I'll put it in the show notes. But and it's about 2 like boys, 18 and 19-year-olds, who during the Cultural Revolution in China get sent off to a peasant village in the mountains because they're, you know, intellectuals, which means they have finished middle school. Yeah. They didn't even get to go to high school. Yeah, anyway, it's really interesting so far, but I'd started reading it, and then...
So it has nothing to do with Balzac?
Well, one of the readers, or one of the books, it's all about how they end up finding a stash of books and reading them with the Little Chinese Seamstress. Anyway, it's really cute. But yeah, Balzac is one of the authors they read. And
good author.
Okay, I don't think I've ever read Balzac. No. But
he's a very well-known French author.
Yeah, I know who he is. Anyway, so I sold the other copy to Dan, and then someone else came in and saw me reading it and was like, oh, that looks really good. Can I? And I'm like, yeah, here you go. I just wrote down what page I was on. So then I ran out to the library and got a library copy for myself.
Literally, before the store was closed, she's like, can I sneak away and go get a coffee?
Because the library closes at like 5:30 and we close at 6.
And it's a long weekend, so she planned on reading for
truthfully, I've read about half of that, and it's really good, but then I got distracted. I got distracted by other books. So...
I took home several books. I took home an S.J. Linnea, something about finding Eden or losing Eden.
You talked about that last time.
And then I took
home... I thought it was really bad.
I didn't...
Wasn't that one?
No, I didn't start that one yet. And I took home a new Andy McDermott, something about Valhalla and the end of the world.
It's Andy McDermott. Yeah, it's always about
the end of the world. No, it's not. That's the plot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I took home that, and then I think I'm going to start reading the Turtles All the Way Down again by John Green. Okay, I was watching Orange is the New Black this morning. She made a ship. Was it Sailing to Valhalla?
No.
I was watching Orange is the New Black this morning, and in one of the episodes, I was laughing so hard because... I just talked about Turtles All the Way Down, which is a book by John Green, and one of the inmates was holding up a book, and it was, Fault in Our Stars. Yeah.
Which I have not read, because that would not fit into our book club mandate.
It would not. No, it wouldn't be a good have.
Anything about cancer isn't a good one for me. I hate it when you're reading a book and there's surprise cancer. That just sounds so weird, but I was reading a really good book. I was like, this is such a good book. And then in the last, 2 chapters, cancer. Sorry. Whee! That's all right. I mean, it happens to everyone. But yeah.
But it strikes close to home, and sometimes you want to avoid reading about that.
Exactly.
I get it. So, it was a really good book, but it was a hard read.
Yeah, I'm not going to read
it. It strikes close to home for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yep.
But, yeah, so those are the books I will be reading.
I read some other books.
Yeah.
I read 3 books in the last, I'm on the 3rd book in the last, day.
What one?
They're by Lily and Stuart Carl. I've only ever seen them in ebook, but apparently they are available in real book. In
real
book format. But I've read a bunch. Yeah, I've read a bunch by her, but I hadn't read these ones before, or I possibly had, but I couldn't remember how they ended. She does mysteries that always include Scotland and archaeology, and usually a bit of there's a ghost or something.
Okay.
They're really, really good. So the ones I was reading. Yesterday I read The Secret Portrait and The Murder Hole, and then today I started The Burning Glass. And these ones are part of a series.
Are they cozy mysteries or?
Yeah, kinda. They're Scottish and archaeology.
Okay.
So yeah,
cozy mysteries, i.e., light mysteries that.
Yes.
Light mysteries.
Yeah, they are quite light mysteries. The second one, Murder Hole.
This is Polifax and stuff like that.
Was was about a guy searching for definite proof of the Loch Ness Monster. So there was a lot of Nessie jokes and stuff. But yeah, they're really cute. I've read a bunch of books by her before, but she's fabulous. And I found her because Lois McMaster Bujold recommended her. They're old friends, but Lillian Stewart Carl co-wrote the Varkosigan Companion book. But she and then Lois recommended Lillian's
mysteries.
Yeah, and they are fabulous.
Especially
if you like Scottish, Scottish history and loads of fun and lots of talk about yummy men in kilts and how a kilt can make even the non-yummiest man look decent. But yeah,
kilt doesn't do it for me.
The full, okay. Anyway, it's kind of nice because, I don't know, it's just, the main character in these ones I've been reading is a, 40-ish-year-old woman who just got out of a, bad marriage and started a life anew in Scotland, and it's really good.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Book.
Starting life anew reminds me of New Girl. I started watching it again, from the beginning.
Oh, you didn't just keep going from where we are?
We've been watching it on her Netflix, and so I got onto mine, and I was like, where were we? And I was like, I don't remember. And I just started at the beginning. And I watched the first 2 episodes before I jumped around and found where we were. Yeah. But I was like, oh yeah, starting fresh. She's like, so the show starts with her doing a monologue about, the girl in the horror movies that hears a noise and goes downstairs to check it out, and then you're yelling at the TV, don't go down there, that's where you get murdered, and she thinks to call the cops, but it's too late because she's already getting stabbed. She's like, yeah, that's pretty much my life. And she's like, oh, sorry, what was the question? And they're like, do you have any pets? or something stupid like that. And she's like, yeah. It's hysterical.
We talked about it last podcast, I think.
Yeah.
We've been watching lots of it. Yeah. So we're up to season 4.
Yeah, and I watched some new ones.
Oh, did you? So I should watch some?
I watched 2 or 3 of the new ones, and then switched to Orange is the New Black.
I'm house sitting for my mum, so we're not in the same place right now. It's so nice.
It's lovely. Although I miss your mum.
Yeah.
She's a little bit crazy and really fun to be around.
Yeah.
It's always sad when she goes. She went to visit her other daughter.
Yeah.
Actually and her granddaughter.
She went to,
She got a letter. It was so funny. We were like, oh, you are so whipped by this grandkid, because she got a letter that said, I lost Staggy, which is her stuffed Sockasaurus. And she's like, can you go get another one at the dinosaur museum? He's green and he was by the door in the gift shop.
Green with orange spikes.
Yeah.
And the dinosaur museum is an hour and a half away.
So she drove out to go get a new Staggy.
But they didn't have more Staggies, so she got a long neck because that was all right as well.
Yeah, she got a Brachiosaur.
Yeah, and he was so cute.
Actually, I'm gonna insert a picture of the Brachiosaur here.
But you don't have it. Oh, do you?
I do on my phone.
Oh, the picture of
I
me.
will be
this is going to be a really long podcast.
Yeah, okay. I'll be right back with the picture. That was Cindy holding a Brachiosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to be a really long podcast. Sorry, we're blathering.
That's okay. Apparently people like the blather.
Yeah, that's all right. I started watching a new TV show.
Which one?
It's called The Almighty Johnsons.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me about it.
I've watched about 7 episodes, and I'm not sure if I like...
You still don't know you've watched that much, and you're not sure if you like it?
I quite enjoy it, but I think it's one of those things that I feel like I shouldn't enjoy. Anyway, it's a New Zealand show. It's about these 4 brothers who are actually the incarnation of Norse gods, and they find out on their 21st birthday, each of them. And so it starts out with the youngest brother's 21st birthday, and then and then it's all about them. He's got a quest, and it's set in nowadays New Zealand, but they're actually Norse gods, and It's hilarious. But okay, so Axel is the youngest, and he is Odin, and he has a quest to find Frigg. He has to find Frigg to, I don't know, complete a prophecy or whatever. Because Frigg was his wife, Odin's wife. And then Mike is the oldest, and he's the god of the hunt, and and games. So if he plays games, he can't lose, and that includes like gambling and stuff. And then the two middle brothers, one of them is Bragi, who's the god of poetry. So basically, if he talks to you, he can convince you of anything. And he's an ass, and he tends to use it to basically date rape women.
Oh.
And that's the thing, like, I hate the fact that is happening, but they're actually dealing with it in the show. So, yeah, it's like, oh, wow, what a jackass.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they're actually going, we don't like what you're doing, kind of thing. And then the last brother is Hod, who is the god of ice and all things dark. Or all things dark and cold. So, and he's hilarious because basically all his ex-girlfriends are now friends. But anyway, yeah, and then the guy who Axel thought was their cousin, who is actually their grandfather.
So they don't age after they turn 21?
He doesn't, because he's Balder. The others have aged. But yeah, he's Balder, who's the god of rebirth or whatever. So he has aged really, really slowly. So he looks about 30 and he's 92. And he's actually their grandfather. But yeah, so, and he's dealing with issues about, like, he can't stay with someone for a long time. But he's hilarious because he's a surfer dude and he's always high.
So I'd like to point out that I read books that have similar plots, and she mocks me through the entire time.
But, like, Axel's best friend, well, one of his best friends and flatmates is the girl who played the main character in Whale Rider.
Oh.
Much older now, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that?
Whale Rider is an amazing movie.
It is amazing movie. If you
movie.
haven't seen it, you should totally watch it. It was so good. I think we watched that, which was, like, it was hard, but it was a really good movie. And then Rabbit Proof Fence.
Oh, I haven't watched Rabbit Proof Fence.
I thought I watched it with you.
Nope.
That's sad and definitely wouldn't make it into our happy book club. It's kind of the same idea as our residential schools here in Canada, which is a horrible part of our history, but it was just following these two girls, these two sisters that
in
tried
Australia.
to cross, tried to get out by
Aboriginal
across.
sisters, right?
Yeah. So it was really horrible, but really good. Like,
and Whale Rider.
Good to know.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
People need to deal with the bad parts of their history too. And Whale Rider is a lot about the Maori in New Zealand.
And just how things are changing and how they're not, and how girls and guys boys are treated differently, and like the whole thing.
It's very I like movies. I mean, I like books like that too, but that's not what I want to read for a book club.
Yeah.
And I do read a lot of
books and movies for me tend to be escapism.
Yes.
Silly, ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, for
that
me too.
pterodactyl grabbed that guy off the golf course.
And Vitamin 2, poor David Nickel. Sorry, she actually watched. Well, I got the movie.
She watched. It was her movie.
It was, because as I think I've mentioned before, I tend to find an actor I like, and then I watch everything they've ever done, and sometimes those everything they've ever done are terrible, terrible, terrible. Yeah. But yeah, that one was a David Nickel. He's a minor Canadian actor who was in Stargate Atlantis. Yeah. And I thought he was fabulous. So I watched that. I never did get my hands on the one where he's hunting Ogopogo. Now I want to.
If you're wondering who he played in Stargate Atlantis, you might remember the one where they did letters from Pegasus, and they're talking to their loved ones because they think they're all going to die. And all you hear him is talking in Czech, and then all of a sudden, security clearance.
He played Dr. Zelenka.
He played Dr. Zelenka.
It was fabulous.
Yeah. It was a really cute role.
Very good role. I loved him.
I think that's it for me. I don't have any other stuff that I watched or read.
Blathering. Well, we can blather a bit longer about one thing. So we had an idea.
We did. It's a big idea.
It is a big idea. We're not talking about it yet, but I think once we are talking about it, you guys should be very excited.
Yes, I think so.
I hope.
Yes.
I think the last time we did this to you guys, we ended up opening a yarn store.
Yeah.
We're not opening another yarn store, but we have an idea. So we just have to.
We tend to. I plan everything and research things for years before I do anything. But when it comes to the store, for some reason, every major decision we've made has been super fast and it worked out well.
Yeah.
So for some reason, I'm less stressed about it when it comes to the store. But we had a thought. I made an off-the-cuff comment at like 3 o'clock on Saturday. By 5 o'clock, we had a couple of pages of notes of something we wanted to do.
We've talked to a few people for their input.
Yeah. So we will be talking about it shortly if it happens. But we've got to
make sure
get a few
it's
things.
feasible.
Yeah, get a few things researched slightly before we move forward. So
we've totally moved forward. We're gonna do this thing.
I hope so. Yeah, it's very exciting.
We're such dorks.
I'm a little terrified, but it's very exciting.
Yeah. So we will go now and leave you on that.
Yeah.
Because we're mean.
Ciao.